favorite analyst in Fortnite, and that's Coach Harry. He was on the broadcast for Reload, right? I spoke to Coach Harry before Grants and I asked him, who's your surprise team? Who's the underrated team that you really rate? And he said, I see Shawful and Repairs getting a top 10 this weekend and surprising a lot of people. I think he even said as far as like he could see them even sneaking towards a closer top 5 position, something mad like that. And I sort of looked at him and I went, I don't know about that one, but I think this is exactly what he was seeing in the replays that I think a lot of people weren't seeing, is their ability, Mini, to have games just like this one.
Well, he might just be absolutely right, because on the start of the day, they were starting in 11th place, and that win is surely going to boost them way up in the standings. Can't wait to see where they are right now. But a really nicely closed out endgame right here. We had a little bit of a sort of UK battle down on low ground with Nevs and Nathan against Twy and Cringe. And what they did really well here was just stayed up above whilst all those guys fought it out down below. Shawful, really nice elimination right there onto Cringe just to go down. And what I like here as well, Repairs was just staying up on top, almost securing the win while Shawful was taking them out in Storm. So really nicely played from these guys. Hopefully a sign of more things to come. And of course, as the caster said, it's their first win. So let's see if they can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, looking nice and clean from these guys. So let's see what they can do in the next 5 games. We will be back in a few minutes though, gang, because we need to take a short break. When we come back, more about game number 7. Welcome back to day 2 of the FNCS Europe Major 1 finals, and we just saw Shawful and Repairs take the first victory royale of today. So I'll be curious to see where that gets them within the top 10, because they were sat in 11th before we kicked off today's action. And action we saw in our first game at 11-2K, because it was exciting to see Thomas and Focus managing to overcome the challenge of heading to a zone on the other side of the map. Usually they use that as an excuse to not pull off a great game, but they had 10 eliminations, made it to 4th. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, look, I think, Thomas and Focus obviously were asking for better zones here in day 2. They would have obviously seen that zone, Mini, and gone, all right, we're not going to get our better zones. We just got to do this ourselves. We got to put our tournament in our own hands. And the one thing I said about these guys yesterday was that you're not going to be more consistent than Sky and Scroll. And so how can you beat them? You have to out-frag them. And the way they came into this game, they were hitting shots. They were looking to be aggressive. They picked up a double-digit elim game. Those are the types of games they need to keep having if they have any chance of catching up to first place.
Yeah, 10 eliminations is absolutely huge. 4th place in that game. Sky and Scroll had a 7th place with 4 eliminations. So they've actually beaten them in that game, which is absolutely huge for them. And I think it's kind of unfortunate for Thomas and Focus, because if it wasn't that Sky and Scroll were actually so good, I actually took out Sky there, of course, as well. If it wasn't that Sky and Scroll was so good, they'd probably be on track to win this FNCS, because when you look at the teams above them in terms of Chino and Pablo, they've had fortunate zones. So it's like they haven't necessarily proved themselves as well when it comes to further zones. It's just really unfortunate for them that Sky and Scroll just doing so well at the moment. Things can change though, and if that first game's anything to go by, they did better than them. So how's things going to change out the rest of the game?
Yeah, what did go wrong for Sky and Scroll in that last game, Mini Minor? They sort of made it. They made an appearance in the end game. Is it just like a resource situation?
Yeah, everything was looking good. I mean, we saw it in the mid game. We saw them inside of the storm, like I sort of talked about previously. Ultimately, Scroll went down, and usually it is Scroll that's been most successful with these solo clutches, Levin. It was left to Sky. He had no materials, couldn't find his way around. And I think probably this duo would rather have Scroll in that situation, but a decent game nevertheless.
Yeah, I think either one of them, I think is more than capable. I think we saw in the heats, it was Sky that was solo clutching a bit more than Scroll, right? So I think either one of them is comfortable.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't think this is the worst game in the world for them. I think this is actually fine. Yeah, they couldn't find the win condition. Obviously, Sky is forced to solo clutch. It was a difficult zone to do so, especially how Hype were playing it. But I think you'd still be happy with how that game played out, especially as far as, Chino and Pablo are concerned, and Chino going down and maybe not having the best of games there.
Yeah, what happened, Levin? We saw Pablo doing this classic solo clutch, but why did he end up in that situation?
It was quite unfortunate. It was this rotation here. They were the last ones to go. And so there's people looking backside. Chino just gets sprayed out. Unfortunate, because the setup looked like what we had seen from them yesterday, where they're just looking like they're going to have another really good game and keep up with Sky and Scroll. But Pablo had to clutch up, and as though he is one of the better solo clutches in this lobby, if you ask Destiny Jesus, he might tell you he's one of the best of all time. He wasn't quite able to salvage enough points, right, to really make it happen. And so still a good game from Pablo, able to stay up as long as he did. Chino, unfortunate to go down there. The timing on that rotation was really just
back on the mic.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of their game 3
overhearing good TV instead.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they went down in exactly the same way. And I'm pretty sure it was Chino in that exact same situation where they tried to use one of those overdrive grenades at the wrong time. They sort of got dropped down. Of course, they didn't take full damage, but they were just on show to the rest of the lobby that had already advanced forward. So I think there's a problem there that they're having. Hopefully they can fix it, though. And if they get different zones, maybe we'll see different plays from them. But still not the worst game ever for them. Maintains that spot. So.
Well, let's take a look at the leaderboard again, because I want to see where Cyrus and Scary, our Spanish duo, are. Because Mini Minor, it wasn't a great game for them. It's amazing. It really speaks volumes of their performance yesterday that they've only gone down 1 place because they had a horrible.
Well, it's their worst game. It is the first knock that we've seen from these guys, their first problem, and they went down here, Levin, in quite surprising fashion, especially considering how much we were hyping them up at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, we were bigging them up for their fighting, and then they just allow a Zat